Well, if my microphone wasn't working, why don't we go ahead and do it again? Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Bad Decisions Club presents the Dancing Hut of Baba Yaga. Today's session is pre-recorded, except for this part right now, which you can tell wasn't actually pre-recorded, because if it was, I would have edited out the part where I wasn't audible. Friends, I'm going to do our introductions today because we don't have a normal pregame. We're going to start with Jeff Holland, aka Calder Creed, resident sorcerer and poster boy for BetterHelp.com, as well as his brother Delmain the Watcher, who is kind of a cross between a lawman and a probation officer on a multiversal scale, who is a paladin and a cleric. And finally, we're going to have Gail or Olivia joining us, playing, at least at the beginning, the part of Dives the Bat. Friends, I'm so excited for this session. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it, and I'll catch you on the flip side. So as a quick recap for all of you, where we last left off, we had a conversation with Tasha where where Charlotte pitched the idea that maybe we could steal the hut and do something with it.
Just put it somewhere.
Put it somewhere else.
On not the prime material plane, so that Baba Yaga has to, at the very least, leave the prime material plane to deal with other things.
And Tasha was like, okay, I'll listen to your idea, but maybe not here, because like we're still in a place where
walls have ears.
Walls have ears, often literally here.
It's true that Baba Yaga can peek into any of her rooms at any time. She just doesn't often peek into this one because it's the most secure, or one of the most secure. But that doesn't mean that she won't, right? That doesn't mean that it can't happen. So she's like, look, let's go to the treasury. I'm gonna let you take your pick of some stuff. And then once that's done, let's get the fuck out of the cabin or out of the hut, and then we'll talk, right? Yeah. That's kind of the idea. But when you went to enter the door, there was a feeling of being diverted. There was a feeling of you're walking, but suddenly you are yanked in a direction that you didn't expect to go, which is weird in this directionless place. Right? In the in-between, there is no direction, but you definitely feel like you got pulled off course. And when you come out of the door, this is where I'm going to go ahead and start where we actually record. So I'm going to do a quick intro.
Oh, sweet.
What do you got?
I rolled a d6. I'm rolling a d6 to recharge my charges of my staff, because you didn't say it recharges. It doesn't say recharge at dawn like every other staff says. It says that every long rest.
On a long rest, and that counts as far as I'm concerned.
So I get all the charges I spent in the last 5 battles. That's all I care about.
So you exit the door and you immediately get the sense that you're not where you are supposed to be. First off, you get this muggy kind of humid feeling in the air. Yeah? The first thing you notice is that when you breathe in, it's very heavy. It's not super hot in here, but the air is very heavy. You feel this buzzing. The door opens into a circular stone platform set in the midst of a thick, swampy forest filled with sinister-looking cypress trees and carpets of stringy gray moss hanging from the branches. Pools of grimy water dot the ground, which look to possess a sponge-like quality. Overhead, a dull scarlet light like a moon hangs in the air, largely obscured by the grasping branches of the surrounding trees. Insects buzz out of sight, and the sound of rippling water and snapping branches echo eerily around the stone platform. So I'm going to go ahead and share the map with you. And I'm going to switch us over there. So here you are. And again, like, imagine, I don't know, Louisiana in the summertime, except not quite as hot, basically. What do you do?
Look around immediately.
So the first thing you notice is that there are only the three of you here, Calder, Del, and Dives. Nobody else is to be found. So you take a look around, And give me perception checks. All three of you, in fact. Dives may
Does
not be
it-
able to communicate very well, but Dives can still see and still hear.
Does it rely on hearing?
It does rely on hearing.
Cool, advantage.
Not the worst I could have gotten. Wait, didn't roll that.
No, I saw it. I saw Dell's anyway.
I'll take
I
the
use the
19.
I use the dice tower
Yep.
because it sometimes doesn't roll the actual dice for me.
I rolled medicine for some reason, but it's the same pool.
So Dives gets a 14. Dives and the rest of you are going to hear like some cackling and some rustling coming from the southeast. You can actually see that there's a lake to the southeast, right? This is not so dense that you can't see through it. Who got the Calder? You got a 19. You hear voices sort of whispering to each other, but it's hard to make out what they're saying. But Dell, with your 25, I'm gonna say that you hear as you're looking around, an elderly voice say something like, "It's coming. Get ready."
I think Dell is going to like announce them, like announce the group.
Yeah. What's he say?
Something along the lines of like, I'm not entirely sure what you're waiting for,
I'm
but
I'm
we're here
prepping.
anyways.
I have a held action.
What's the held action?
If something is shot at us, be it magical or so on, I'm casting Globe of Invulnerability.
That sounds reasonable to me. So after Dell makes his announcement, the rustling stops for a moment, and you hear, "It approaches. It approaches." Two very distinct, different voices, and then an expectant pause. And then a little bit more rustling.
We know that where the general direction of the sounds are coming from.
Yes, on the map there's an island to the southwest or to the southeast. That's where it's coming from.
I'll move in that direction since it kind of feels like whoever's talking is actually setting us up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make that like push through the brush.
As you walk forward, the voices say, "What has it lost? What is it seeking?" I don't know. I think the one with the armor's kind of cute. "Stop it, girl."
Thank you.
They take a moment,
But I'm married.
and there's some harsh whispering back and forth in the sort of grove on the island. "All right, do this again. Do it right. What has it lost? What does it seek? What is it willing to give in return?" There, are you happy now? Shut up.
Oh, god damn it, I know what this is.
I think Dives like starts chittering, but it's just bat noises. Like it tries to make conversation, but while in this form cannot speak.
You're trying. We get it. I like I'm gonna like move to like move the brush out of the way, and
Mm-hmm.
you know I'll give a glance back at Calder, be like, directions. Yeah.
The voices wait expectantly.
Ladies, is the water safe?
Can it swim? I don't know. Can it swim? The water's fine, but there are a lot of trolls in there, so you probably shouldn't go in.
Thank you. I'm not really a riddle person. Personally, that is another member of my family's forte.
It thinks this is a riddle.
It's always a
Ah.
riddle.
It does not understand. We're just asking you what you want. That's just their way. Why do you keep... Do not undermine me in front of our guests.
Rob, can I history check for their names?
So a couple of things, actually. Yes and yes. But first, I'm going to say that as you push the brush aside and get to the side of the water, you can actually see the three of them. They are on the island, also kind of moving amongst brush as well. And in fact, I'm going to give both of you, let's start with a history check. And Del, you can take advantage. Calder, please roll straight.
12. I think I have a guess as to who these people are.
So
I took notes, but I'm a bat right now.
I'm going to say that with a 12 Calder, you get the knowledge, you don't get names, but you do get the knowledge that when a hag, which is what these are, when a hag asks for a price, when they say something like, what is it willing to give in return, they're not talking about gold.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, when a hag asks for something, the value isn't measured in gold pieces, it's measured in how much does it hurt to lose. And with a 15, I'm going to say that though you don't know the names of these particular hags, A, they are green hags, and B, they green hags are often susceptible to flattery, if done very, very carefully, because it's very easy to offend them. I'm also going to ask both of you to make an Arcana check, and both of you can take a +2 on this, please.
While they're rolling that, how high is the ceiling roof sky thing in here?
Is Dives going up there?
No, just I want to know for future reference.
The canopy is about 100 feet up.
Okay. All right, plenty of
Above
space.
that, you'd have to get above it to see, but like, there's definitely a ceiling up there somewhere.
No, this is worth trying again for that, just in case.
Okay. Remember, you have an advantage.
I literally rolled the same thing twice.
Wow. So you had an advantage from.
No, I didn't use it. You spent a spell point to cast.
Oh, that was your spell point? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and in the last stream, we had an advantage and a +2. Now, those are not floating. Those are supposed to go to the next roll that's made. So, the next roll that either of you makes will be at advantage, and then the one after that will be at +2, just so that we can get those out of the way. So with your spell point, you get that 14.
Also, I got a 14. With the +2, it's a 16, so we got the same roll.
Excellent. So I'm going to start by going ahead and sharing the Green Hag monster manual. However, you also notice a couple of things. Number one, these do not seem like ordinary green hags. So while they probably follow what's in the monster manual, they're definitely far more powerful than you would expect. Secondly, the reason you notice this is because you see everything in this place, everything in this land, is moving more or less along with them. The wind, the water, the trees, the insects, they all seem to be more or less under the direct control of these creatures. But you don't get their names, I'm afraid. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about surface thoughts, because last I checked, neither of you had any sort of mind reading protections.
No.
Let's start with Jeff. What when they gave you those three things, right? What has it lost? What is it seeking? What is it willing to give in return? What are Calder's surface thoughts saying at that time?
Like, he's probably just like mentally circling through images that he's read or looked in tomes regarding imagery of the triad, the theory of the mother maiden crone, of all of the panoply of all of those myths.
And then what's Dell thinking about?
The fact that it's straight up just like very like utilitarian aspects of things. So it's like, we obviously took a wrong turn. We didn't, like, what the hell? Like, there was definitely like in that like weird in between space. Maybe we were supposed to hop instead of jump. We jumped and we should have hopped. Stuff like like it's very much like, did I leave the oven on type of like banality.
And then dives.
I'm just thinking, I lost the wizard. I lost the wizard that summoned me. Now no one can give me orders. Ha!
And the
Chaos.
voices will say, "It doesn't realize, but it's exactly where it needs to be. Yes, yes, it doesn't know that we can help it find its goals." I still think the one in the armor is really cute.
Calder is doing his level best to keep a straight face, but he does find that extremely amusing.
I'm not putting them on the combat map unless you decide you're going to fight these things, but they're on the island.
Need to fight them, but it's Dell above the board. Dell cannot bargain with them physically.
I think Dives is getting a little impatient, so hops forward from Calder onto Dell, maybe right onto the handle of Fiend Claw, just to be an ass.
Oi! Oi!
We would never insult my ladies as to be so bold as to trespass across the water to your island without an express invitation.
It has politesse. Yes. Yes, perhaps we should go to it. Oh, get me off of this island. And they will, the three of them, actually, no. Give me a, let's say, a persuasion check seems reasonable to me, unless you've got another idea.
No, that works just fine for me.
Can Dives give the help action by very friendly, like waving them over?
No.
I will, I don't know, move out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
I'm happy I dropped the one.
Definitely happy you dropped the one. So with a 23, yes, they will go ahead and come out of the cover, and they will begin to walk across the lake. Just straight up walking across the water. One of them, of course, is a very old, sort of wizened crone who is walking with the help of a gnarled stick. The second still has like the gray hair, or light green hair, I suppose, in a bun. And the youngest one sort of trails behind them. And she is looking at something in her hand and not really paying attention to most of what's going on. But all of them will move forward until they are just off of the bank. So they're about 10 feet away from you. They are right in front of you.
I think Dell will like bow in greeting, but like it's very much like the vibe is just like he's like, I shouldn't be here, and I know that.
Calder's bow is polite but deliberately slightly antiquated, like a much older style of bowing.
Yeah, whereas Dell's is like not from here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give you a chance to open the conversation if you would like.
We are of course honored to be accommodated such by our host.
Let's see. Green hag, green hag, green hag. I'm just going to drop them so that you can see where they are for the purposes of visualization.
Okay.
There we go. And the eldest will sort of shuffle toward Calder and look into his eyes. Now, hags are fairly large, yes, but the crone is so hunched that she's not looking down at you. And she looks at your eyes and she says, "It has lost its sibling." And then the second one will say, "Oh, what a shame. Perhaps it could use some help in locating it." And like
I-
the third one is looking at something that looks almost like to modern day people it looks almost like a cell phone, although it's more of a magical item than a technology item. But like she's looking at
Yes,
something.
a tablet.
She's looking at a tablet.
Like if they're doing that by reading my mind and reading my thoughts, Calder does not believe that Anton for a minute that Anton is dead or gone. He's mind controlled, but he does not believe he is dead. I know exactly where my sibling is.
It claims to know exactly where.
Yes, the broad strokes of it, right?
We know exactly
Dead mind
where.
flayers. Dead mind flayers.
And then the youngest one turns to them and says, "Look, can you just tell them that you can bring it to them? Please? Do you have
I'm
to
so
go through all
pissed.
this all the time?" And the eldest one like gives an incredibly annoyed look at the youngest and says,
I think Dell will make like a nod towards the the mother and crone in kind of that like this is more of the what I expect type vibe. Like he's not gonna say anything, but it's just one of those like he's not gonna like chide the maiden out loud.
But it's a
It's kind of one of those like girl get with the program. Like,
Calder will rise, though keeping his head inclined low to the eldest. One should never deny our elders the respect they are due. They have all earned the right to be as dramatic as they please.
why don't you go ahead and give me another persuasion check
For flattery,
for flattery? I'm going to go ahead and give you a +2 since you are utilizing and you get another +2 from the. Oh wait, is this the advantage one? This one's going to be the advantage one. So take advantage and +2. Advantage from a viewer and +2 for circumstance.
doing as ordered. 19.
A 19. Hold on, I have to check my DCs. Let's see. A 19. Yes.
not bad for rolling an 8.
A 19 will work. So I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of information. The first is that the crone, peers again at Calder and says, "This one has a respectful soul. Not many do." And give me an insight check, both of you.
Pay not attention to what people say. Watch what they choose to care about.
That die, the color of that die is incredible.
Pretty.
It's really
Thank you.
pretty.
It's pretty.
These dice are going in timeout.
So, Dell, you're able to figure out what's going on pretty quick. They are asking for a price, but if you can convince all three of them to be on your side, perhaps the price will be lowered or done away with entirely. And you can tell that with his comment about respecting elders, the crone is already positively disposed towards your group.
The problem with the fact that they're asking for a price is the fact that I don't know what they're offering.
They are being rather oblique.
They are being rather oblique.
And as much as like from a like above the table thing, as much as there's plenty of things that we can have that we could get out of this, the fact that they're asking for a price without like verifying what we're getting means I'm not touching that. Like I'm not I don't want to touch it already, but like I'm not touching it extra.
With a 25 on insight, because that was a
27.
very, very high roll, with a 27 on insight, I'm going to say a couple of things. One, they have implied that they could bring Anton here. And the youngest...
Specifically, they implied that we lost a sibling and they could bring it here. That could also be the new one.
That's also true.
That could be the new one that's missing. It could be Anton who's wandered off.
But they
And
did
there's, there
also
are varying
say
interpretations for the entire up until a week ago, Dell was the missing one. So
Yep. Although they did also imply that, actually state that the sibling in question is in the hut.
well,
But you're right. They are definitely talking around the issue rather than directly to it. And in fact, the youngest was frustrated about that.
Calder will chuckle at that and go, as I said, I know exactly where he is, and it's always a pain in my ass.
I think Dives
Go ahead.
takes off and is trying to get a view of that tablet that the youngest one is looking at.
Sure.
It's TikTok.
It's definitely TikTok. Yes.
It's TikTok.
It's just like a magical portal looking at weird shit.
Yeah, it's just like a scry. It's almost like a GeoGuessr thing. It just scries random locations so that she can look at things. And then every minute to minute and a half, it switches to another location.
The sound is all the same, though. It doesn't matter. It's always the same sound loop.
Basically. We can bring its sibling here. Bring it to Lakeland. I suppose we could do that. We could bring its sibling. Its sibling has been a bit of a bother lately.
That does sound like him.
And when the mother says, been a bit of a bother lately, for just a moment, Calder, you get a vision of the garden that you were in before. Yeah, the one with the cute little creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And for just an instant, the camera in your vision sort of zooms in on one of the vines, and you see traces of blight along the vines.
Uh-oh.
In the garden, in the hut. And as the camera sort of pans away, you see a shadowy figure in armor exiting the room. So that's right after the mother says it has caused problems in the past.
Very interesting.
And then the youngest says, look, can we get to the point, please? I know you all enjoy this, but we can't have that blight getting into Lakeland. You two know this is as much for you as it is for them. Stop being so obtuse. And they...
Side note, above the table, guess who the millennial is? Let's play Spot the Millennial.
I think you can see Dives in the air as he's looking at the screen, is like trying to imitate dance moves and then remembering to fly and then...
That's correct.
As a side note, the ceiling, such as it is about 50 feet above the canopy. So it's about 150 feet off of the ground. This is an absolutely massive space.
It does sound as if that we can help each other.
Perhaps. But information without any kind of recompense, well, we wouldn't want you to feel as though you were special, would we?
Well, unfortunate then that I can speak from experience. My brother is absolutely worthless.
Was Dell about to say something?
Oh, yeah. It's just you have issues with a rot that you would need to have cut out.
A rot. Yes. A blight. Something that has not been seen within the hut before.
A very cold, very cruel smile spreads across Calder's face. You might already know, I have a tremendous amount of experience and dislike for this rot.
the mother will say, "Yes, we know of your history. That is why you were brought here. As you say, perhaps we can help one another.
Mhm.
This sibling could be the agent of the hut's destruction." And the youngest will say, "We've gotten pretty comfortable here. We wouldn't want the rot, as the cute one says, to get to Lakeland. We don't want it here. And it's going to get here eventually if he continues. It, girl, it. If it continues."
Dell will like incline ahead to that. And I personally have no issue weed whacking.
I'm sure if you were to have gazed upon my recent history, I don't need to tell you what I'm going to do to it.
I'm going to ask for some sort of social role here because you're now communicating directly with the mother, who has yet to be fully convinced. What kind of role do you think you should get? And I will go ahead and give advantage for assistance since you are both working together in this. But what do you think would be a good social role for this?
Like, I feel like we're fully implying that we're willing to do our chores.
So persuasion, or I could see intimidation, because we're painting a picture of what we've been painting a picture of like what this rot can do.
I feel like the persuasion is perfectly fine.
I agree.
But like you make it. I'm just here to provide instruments.
I think this is what I'll pull the +5 we have hanging on.
Okay.
Nat
Yeah.
20.
Damn.
34. God damn.
It's not often, friends, that you get a number that's in the 30s. So I'm going to say that... So you say this, and the mother will look at you and say, "But still, it is not in our nature to give away such things for free." And the youngest will turn and say, "You should just give it to them. As we've said, this is good for both." And the mother will kind of sort of consider for a moment. Go ahead.
For the lady's consideration, Calder will pull off his house signet ring.
Mm-hmm.
This, I believe, is appropriate.
I'm going to ask for another surface thought reading, this time specifically regarding how much value does Calder place in that signet ring? How much will it hurt him to lose it? Is it something he can replace immediately, or is it something that will seriously like distress him when it's gone?
It won't seriously distress him, but it is something he places a great deal of personal, emotional weight behind. But I would think that there is like a layer there. Like, he's clearly guarding his thoughts on things.
With that and a 34, I'm going to go ahead and say that the ring floats out of your hand and into the hand of the hag that we have denoted as the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she will curl her fingers around it and close her eyes for a moment. And she will say, "Yes, you have 1 minute to prepare,
All right.
and then you will see your brother again."
About a year ago, I made a specific point to do something. Calder switched out his personal signet ring with the signet ring of the Westmorelands, which he's had since Dungeon 1.
Nice.
That, like, the Baron von Fuckstick that they got Shatterspike from.
Oh, man.
I just gave her that.
Amazing. Perfect.
Because Calder does view his signet ring as significant. And he did put a lot of emotional weight behind acquiring the signet ring. It is something he values as a souvenir of a terrible time.
And it's something that cannot be replaced. And that's important. Right. If it was your signet ring, then you could just have another one forged. But this
is an irreplaceable item that critically isn't mine.
I mean, it has been for a while now, but anyway.
But it's for a specific family that isn't mine.
So the mist in the woods will thicken to the point where you can't see your own hand in front of your face. And
I'm going to strike the item from my inventory.
Yep. And as the hags fade away, you hear, "Will it succeed? It could. Or it could not. Call me." And you have 1 minute in-game to prepare for what's coming. And I'm going to give you all a few minutes as a break, because this is probably where we're going to take the break in stream as well. So why don't we go ahead and take 5 to 10 minutes, and then when we get back, you tell me what you did in the 1 minute leading up to this, and then we'll go from there. Fair enough?
Oh, right. I know what I do. I want to say it now because I don't know if I want to keep it.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna give the youngest hag a cell phone number.
Dell is actually going to find that, and this is a future thing, but after you leave Lakeland, Dell is going to find that there is a sending stone in his pocket that definitely wasn't there before.
Yeah. Oh, so, no, but I'm going to give her like an actual cell
Like an actual, is it a 555 number? Are we doing Hollywood stuff? Or is this an actual number that could be used to contact Dell?
It's a number that actually could be used.
Perfect. I love it. Okay.